Hello everyone, where this afternoon I'm coming to you from LAX. Shortly we'll be flying United all the way over to Brisbane. We're travelling in Polaris business class, so it's going to be a great flight. But let's head back to earlier in the day so I can explain just how we ended up here. Now, no trip out of LA is complete without a stop at In-N-Out Burger, but while you enjoy this plane spotting, let me tell you how I didn't expect to be flying United until very early this morning. We were originally booked on Qantas's QF16 service on the A330 in business class down to Brisbane, but when QF15 never left Brisbane the previous night, it was a waiting game to see when and how Qantas would reroute us home. Since we were continuing on to Melbourne anyway on the same ticket, stay tuned for that video next week, I would have thought we would have all been sent through Sydney instead, or held back until the next day's service to Brisbane. So it was quite surprising to see us rebooked into Polaris on the United service. This actually turned out to be United's last flight of the season from LA to Brisbane, which they continue to serve year-round from San Francisco. But when announcing the next Northern Hemisphere winter schedule, United decided to drop the LA-Brisbane flights altogether, meaning we're actually on United's last ever flight on this route for the time being. If I'd been booked on this flight sooner, I probably would have researched some of United's services a bit more and selected a better seat on board. But nevertheless, now that we're booked onto this service, let's check out the rest of the experience. After we're through check-in and security, we can head over to the Polaris Lounge, which is a significantly more elevated experience over the regular United Club. Only long-haul business class customers can access this space. It has some really nice seating areas, and these cool pods too, which are in high demand, as well as some views over the busy ramp action here at LAX. There was a modest buffet selection on offer, which is all quite healthy and tasty, so there was a few little things I could pick up to eat. But probably the highlight of this lounge, and all other Polaris lounges too, is the dining room. They had a small but proper seating area with nicely laid out tables, creating a really good atmosphere here. Let's take a look at the menu on offer. Unfortunately, it was printed on some sort of shiny paper, which did add to the sophistication of the experience, but made it really hard to film with all the reflective lighting around. After they took our orders, they came by with a warmed bread basket with relevant dips and condiments, but they soon delivered our main dishes too. I ordered the chicken breast, which was quite tasty. I didn't order any starters as I knew I'd be eating on board too, but I couldn't pass up some ice cream for dessert though. After a bit more plane spotting out the window, it was time to head the short distance to our gate. Between United's customers, the Qantas rebookings and other upgrades, both premium cabins on tonight's flight were quite full. We still got priority boarding in Group 1 though, but unfortunately there weren't any views of our plane. So here we are, welcome to seat 1L. Not my first choice of seat as it's close to the galley and lacks wing views, but it was the only true private window seat left when I selected my seat earlier. There was water waiting at the seats, and we were all given these wipes as we boarded. Sparkling wine was also served after we'd all settled in the cabin. There was this big pile of pyjamas stacked here at the front row, which people were free to grab from. This is United's somewhat newish livery on another 787, but tonight we're flying home on one still painted in their old colour scheme. These hot towels were served very soon after departure, and our tables were set and nuts given out not too long after, which was then followed by a quick drink service. As I'm sure you can see, it got quite turbulent during the service. This turbulence turned out to be an ongoing theme during our flight.
You are to stay in your seats with your seatbelts fastened until I feel that it's going to be smooth enough and safe enough for you to get up. Hopefully it won't be long. Unfortunately, our path tonight, Mother Nature is throwing us some turbulence in a few areas, so expect that the seatbelt sign will be off and on throughout the evening. Right now we're going to touchdown at about 4:35, a little early. Weather down there is not going to be all that great either. There's potential for thunderstorms in the Brisbane area. If nothing else, it should be some light rain.
Now let's look at the menu for the flight. When they came through to take orders asking what we'd like for entree, the Australian in me simply looked at the starters selection and chose the beef, not realising the American flight attendants were actually talking about the main course. They simply presented us with both starters when they served us the tray and asked which one we'd like. So here we are with the beef for starters and for mains. Polenta cakes aren't a really big thing here in Australia, so I wasn't a fan of that, and I was a bit surprised that the starter was cold, but it still tasted fine, as did the rest of the meal. Right about when I got my meal, the seatbelt signs came on once more as the turbulence had really picked up again, and the flight attendants also took their jump seats. It remained on for so long that I ended up falling asleep upright in the chair waiting for the dessert sundae trolley, and ended up missing it as I woke up a few hours later over Hawaii after they'd finished all of their dinner service. Now let's take a look around our Polaris suite. There's a coat hook on the side here, and a large screen in front with a USB outlet and small storage compartment underneath. Below that is the tray table, which can be adjusted to quite a few different positions. And there's a large footwell area down there too. All the seat controls are on the armrest on the side, which also comes with a sort of unintentional storage ledge between here and the window, which is just big enough to cram a few small things down there if you wanted. Over the other side of the seat is a lamp and some proper bench space. There's also the audio port, some more power points and the TV remote. And close to the seat there's a little reading light too. In this compartment here, there's the mirror, and a hook for the headphones. And enough space inside to store a couple of things too. But there's a small but sturdy adjustable armrest here. And my seat, being a bulkhead, is equipped with a bassinet. Now that I'm going to turn my seat down and properly go to sleep, let's take a look at all of United's bedding. We have this really thick and comfortable blanket, and a pillow too. There's another smaller and thinner blanket, and one of United's famous gel pillows. Plus, slippers were also waiting at the seat. The pyjamas I grabbed seemed to be of a reasonable quality, and most people in the cabin chose to wear them. But let's not forget to check out the toilet. This was the one right in front of my seat, but it didn't seem to disturb me too much with other people. It has some premium amenities in it, and it was mostly pretty clean. And here's the bed all set up. There were mattress toppers available, but I chose to just use the thick blanket for this, and the thinner one as the actual blanket. To make sure I wouldn't sleep through breakfast too, I set up this handy feature on the screen. There were some snacks available through the night, as well as some hot options the crew could heat up. But I woke up a few hours out of Brisbane anyway, just before we were starting to cross over Vanuatu, and breakfast was served soon after this, with another side of turbulence. It was probably one of the better breakfasts I've had on a plane, as the main dish was actually really tasty and filling. Once they cleared our tables, the crew handed out these express passes for immigration and customs in Brisbane. Although most people who go through the E-gates can't use them, I suppose it's a nice thought anyway. And let's not forget to see what's inside of the amenity kit, which actually came in this bum bag sort of pouch. It was quite well stocked with all the essentials, and some things you don't see in many other kits either. With this pouch having many other creams and lotions too. And the entertainment system, like all major US carriers, is very good, with an impressive selection of movies and TV shows. And some useful information about United and our plane and seat, although I couldn't find if their Channel 9 was offered on this flight. You can also control the window dimming on here, although it was dark for our whole flight so it didn't really matter. And some other seat controls are on here too. Plus, there was a really good interactive route map there as well. We're very close to Brisbane now, so before we land, let's also see what Wi-Fi options there are on board. It was again pretty turbulent coming into Brisbane, so much so that I overheard one of the flight attendants in the galley saying that she was knocked to the ground and the bumps got quite bad. Thankfully it wasn't nearly as bad as the turbulence that's been in the news recently, but I fear that some of the experience on board was kind of let down by the constant disruptions of the seatbelt signs. Welcome to Brisbane. It was quite funny hearing the announcement of "Thank you for choosing United," then overhearing another flight attendant say in the galley that half of the plane actually chose Qantas. It proved to be a bit of a problem for many frequent flyers on board. They would have received extra baggage allowance with Qantas, which understandably wasn't recognised by United. They were then forced to pay for additional bags they were previously entitled to. I wasn't in this boat, so I'm not sure what followed, but I hope Qantas would have refunded these customers for the extra charges. Here's just about the best view of the plane I could get, but at 4:30 in the morning I didn't really care about trying to find a better angle. But overall the flight with United was really good. In some ways they fall short of Qantas, but in many others they're so much better, especially with the Polaris lounge and bedding on board, so I'm happy that I got to try them, as they're an airline I wouldn't normally get to fly.